Well, hello. Thank you for reaching out and finding MentalShift. If you've stumbled across this on accident, you're like, who in the world is this lady? My name is Michelle Moross. I'm an international speaker. I'm a trainer. I'm a coach of communication. Happen to have 2 books, 3 in the works, and of course, this podcast. So thank you for finding it. And if you like what you see or what you're hearing, please subscribe, follow, find me on all social media because I answer. Now, here's the thing. You've reached MentalShift. And what I do is I have people come on, everyday people, business people, you name it, because everyone has a story. And what I want to encourage everyone is that the world is made of stories. And as we learn other people's stories and how they overcame whatever they've overcome, or when they think they haven't overcome, they have, whatever they've done to become who they are, we share these stories on MentalShift. Today, I want you to meet a good friend of mine. And it's funny because I met him on accident, fell in love with him immediately, and then never saw him again. That is how the world works sometimes. Please meet this amazing man. His name is Casey Eberhart. And I'm so, I don't know, blessed that he entered my life and then was there. Because when we get into the story, you'll find out why I'm so excited about having him on. So welcome, Casey.
Awesome, Michelle. Well, thank you so much for having me. It is truly an honor. And I know that there are 18 million people that would probably all be vying for a slot to be on your show. And I truly just am honored and filled with gratitude that you're having me on the show. So I appreciate it.
You gave me a catapult and you didn't even know you did it.
Well, you know, we like that.
Yeah, you came into Colorado Springs and my friend Brenda said, you have to come meet Casey. And I'm like, I don't have to anything. And so because she said I wouldn't go. I didn't want to go. And she said, please, I really want you to meet him. And she shifted it. And I said, for you, because you really feel that strongly, I'll go. I went to this like networking riches or something you came to Colorado Springs with. This man had the most amazing shoes on. And then he's talking and I'm listening. He was just very intriguing. And then we came out of a break and he was wearing a wig. And I went, it clicked immediately for me. I had always held myself back as a speaker, Casey, until I met you. I was always very exact, you know, I move a lot, I do a lot. But when I saw you in front of that room, as professional as you are and having so much fun, it gave me permission to be me. And I remember telling you, I've got everything I want from you right now, but I want more. Yeah. And that's why I signed up to be part of your circle, because I just needed to be in your presence. And I talk a lot about that in my MentalShift when I meet people. Is it's very important to have the right circle in your world. And Casey, you're in my world, and I appreciate that. Now, let's get on to why you're here. The reason I wanted you on is because, first of all, everyone write it down if you want to, or it'll be in the front of this podcast, www.expandthebusiness.com. Expandthebusiness.com. The reason I'm saying that is because Casey, in like 3 hours, actually it was like 20 seconds, helped me learn to stand out from my competition in my own market. And then after that moment, it just has been growing exponentially. And I wanted Casey on because more of you need to have that learning, that mindset, that circle that Casey so easily welcomed me into and does every day. It's how he breathes. So Casey, I just introduced you for like 20 minutes, but
no, I love that. My gosh, I wanted to take my phone and record this so I could send it to my mother. But you know, Michelle, you brought up several really good points in there that I think are really lessons that as business owners and as non-business owners, we could take from that. And that is, number one, like, let's face it, shift has hit the fan, right? And so when we talk about shift and mental shift, I tend to use the word transformation and shift kind of interchangeably. Mm-hmm. And what you experienced that morning, you know, if it was because of me, awesome. It could have been because of the lighting in the hotel room or your own particular mental space and capacity was right there at that time. And everything kind of happened simultaneously, that where you were able to create a shift, literally like in the snap of a finger. And I really think that that is, from a transformational standpoint and a shift perspective, everything is prep work for a shift until literally the nanosecond and the instantaneous convergence of things that cause a new direction in either thinking or exploration or in formulation or creation. You know, a lot of people have a shift when they have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, you've got all this prep work, you've read books, you've watched YouTube videos, you've talked to other people, you've done the deed that gets your wife or girlfriend pregnant or your husband, where somehow that all works. And then you go into this like concentrated effort to get ready for the big event, but you really don't have a shift until that baby comes out the first time. And then from that second forward, the shift has occurred, whether you want it to or not. Mm-hmm. Transformation in business and in life, same exact thing. You can read books, you can watch YouTube videos, you can talk to people, but until we as people are open and ready and nervous and scared and all those anxiety-ridden, stressed out, all of those things can kind of converge, and literally in a nanosecond. And for some people, it's a book. For some people, it's matching a connection. For some people, it is reading a line in a book. For some, it's being moved by a podcast episode. For some, it's being moved by an opportunity that comes in front of them. I have not found or met very many people that live full lives who aren't embracing shift and embracing change and embracing transformation. And the funny example I use when I talk to people about this is, I live in Los Angeles. I grew up in a little town in Washington called Puyallup. Nobody can pronounce it the second time.
Well, I used to live there.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So little teeny tiny conservative podunk suburb of Tacoma, Washington, right?
Yep.
And I had to have a shift, and there were a series of things that moved me, but I moved to Los Angeles, way outside my comfort zone. In fact, I was so scared, I talked my best friend into moving down here. He moved down here before me, and then I was super scared because then I was like, oh, the world's, all of this chatter. But when I moved and I landed in Los Angeles and I decided that this was where I was going to make a life, I had a major shift. And now when I go back home, or one goes back home to your hometown, and you look at all the people that have never really left high school, yeah, they're all at their same job. They're all in their same comfort zone. They're all in the same city. They probably live in the same house that they bought from their parents or that they grew up in, or a quarter mile away. And you look at the folks that are the envy of people, and a lot of times what you discover is the difference is they just were willing to embrace it and take a change. And as fast as you can snap your finger, pivot and change and embrace the fact that the only thing that is forcing us to grow is the shift that we have and the changes that we have that we embrace. Yeah. And they don't need to be forever decisions. I mean, I could go back to Puyallup if I wanted, but if I never left Puyallup in the first place,
never had the choice.
Never would have been where we are today.
One of the analogies I like to give, there's two of them. The first one I'll give is, because right now everyone's in a loud shift. Okay. So the bicycle analogy is when you're riding a bike or you're driving a car and you start hearing this, it's the gears getting stuck. It's very uncomfortable. And basically our lives do the same thing. So when we're running around and we're like, I am just not happy, or, I just don't feel right. I don't feel like I'm the right. Those are your gears, your brain, everything in your existence saying, shift now. And so many of us fight it, doing, no, I'm just going to be uncomfortable because I don't know what's going to be next if I do the shift. And then there's those of us who do.
Yeah.
And it's a terrifying thing to see, because what happens is we fear the unknown.
Yeah.
But the thing is we really fear what we think of the unknown. So many of the shifts I've done in my life, and just like you, we feared what we didn't know was coming. But when we shifted, it really wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. Matter of fact, our imagination made it far more terrifying than it actually was. And so when I hear people complaining, like especially right now, I said, listen to the shift. If your gears are grinding, are you supposed to gear back or gear up? And now it's time to figure it out, because it's quiet enough that you can figure it out. And then the other analogy is, if you don't like gears, think of water. Water will go down, right? Stream. It'll hit a rock. Will it break? Water goes over, around, or through. But if you are a rock that does not flow and you hit another rock hard enough, you're going to break. You don't want to break. You want to be the flow. You need to embrace the shift. Shift happens.
Yeah. Shift happens. Shift is hitting the fan as we speak. Michelle, it's really interesting because, sometimes when I'm on stage or I'm training a big group of people, in order to kind of make this something that people embrace, it really comes down to understanding that change does not happen until the pain of changing is less than the pain of staying the same. Mm-hmm. So when somebody says to me, I need to make more money, I need to make more money, I need to make more money. And I say, okay, well, let's do X, Y, and Z. And they say, oh, well, I can't do that. I say, well, you are just in a position where you're not in enough pain. You're not experiencing enough being backed into the corner. And this is a personal issue for me because I'm in the advice business. So it's really easy for me to look at other scenarios and other business owners. And I'm very fortunate in that I work with a lot of extraordinary results-based CEOs and entrepreneurs. And it's very easy for me to go, oh, because I've got enough of experience to go, Michelle, I think this is A, B, and C what you should do, or, consider A, B, and C. But in my own life, both personally and professionally, I will sometimes joke with my own internal team that I can be pushed much, much further than most people. Like, there are lots of decisions where I should have snapped my fingers and made a different pivot and a different change sooner than I did. But again, going back, understanding that I wasn't in enough pain. I don't have enough pain, or the pain of changing isn't as scary to me as staying the same. So I'll stay the same until I get really pushed into a corner. But once that breaking point comes, once that pivot point comes for me personally, I don't ever look back. No. And I think sometimes people look back and they sit on the fence and they go back and it's funny. I have a lot of friends that will get back together with their exes. They get in a fight, they break up, they get back together. They get in a fight, they break up, they get back together. They get in a fight, they break up, they get back together. And it's just a constant cycle.
It's a broken record.
Broken record. I don't have that. I've never ended a relationship and then got back together with the person. Now, the great thing is I'm friends with literally every single person I've ever dated with the exception of one. And in 99% of cases, it's a much better relationship now than it was in the past.
Exactly.
But because I get pushed, or I can go into the red zone, if we're using a car analogy, quite a bit longer, a lot of times we don't recognize that there's a check engine light going on, or that there's a flashing check engine light, or, if you've got red flags going down, sometimes I'm the guy that'll sit on the side of the street and watch an entire red float go by before I get the hint that it's not just a little red flag, right? But I think it's really important that one of the skills or a muscle that we hone and make stronger is our ability to embrace what's right in front of us and embrace pivot, embrace change, embrace shift, embrace formulation and creation. Sometimes it's kind of funny. I get prospected for every network marketing company under the sun, and it's fantastic. I love it because I love seeing the different messages and how people approach it. And I always find it interesting when somebody pitches me something before they actually ask. And the question that I sometimes always ask, or I would like to be asked, is, do you at all keep your options open? Because if somebody's not keeping their options open, and this can even go, you guys, as consumers, if you sell anything, like, I don't mean to take it just network marketing. I mean this in any business. If you're having conversations with your potential customers, you should probably have some conversation ahead of time of, is this even something that you would consider? You know, I happen to be an iPhone user, right? If somebody from an Android sales department called me and said, hey, you know, we have a great new deal on Android phones. Do you at all keep your options open of switching your cell phone coverage? I'm going to say no. Well, I've done this both a service right there. Number one, I've allowed that other person to ask a question. I have just simply said, I don't keep my options open. It allows them the space and the dignity to go on to the next conversation. It also allows me the dignity to not make it personal about how dare you call me about an Android phone, and or let you string me along and say, send me in some information. I mean, I just think sometimes as business owners, if we would get into the habit of asking our potential customers somewhere, like, I don't care what, like, even if it's in an advertisement or a marketing or a Facebook post or whatever, you know, do you even keep your options open? Do you even have an interest? And this is, I think, Michelle, in the business world, well, it's probably a personal dating world now that I'm thinking about it. It's the difference between understanding whether somebody is a contact or a prospect. And I think so often businesses jump to the conclusion that everybody's a prospect before they even ask if we can move them from that contact button or that contact space of just a friendship and a relationship to a prospect.
Yeah. And right now in this whole, lockdown, I'm getting hit so hard everywhere. It's not even, hi, Michelle, I'd like to know more you do. It's, hi, would you like to get married and have 5 children? It's like, whoa, what's happening? I don't even know what you do.
Well, and it's not even have 5 children. It's I'm coming to the marriage with 5 children.
Yeah. It's like,
like you don't even get to have the 5 times the fun. You're just going to walk in, you know.
Exactly. It's like the importance, the magic about business and succeeding in business is knowing who you're talking to. Stop just blanketly throwing up on people and thinking that the big net's going to catch people. No, speak to your avatar. Find out who they are. What are they needing? What can you do for them? I mean, one of the things I learned quickly with you was connecting and getting to know people and reaching out. Honestly, I have to show you this. You sent me a couple of things that I keep with me at all times. So,
I love this. Oh, I love that.
Make a Difference was the first mug you sent me. You also sent me one that called, I think you've been mugged. But the one that I keep where I see, it says, hustle until the haters ask if you're hiring. I love this mug. And you're a master. You're masterful at connecting people, keeping in touch with them, and really lifting them to another level of how important they are in your world. And I want you to talk more about that, because I think people don't realize it. Yeah, I sent them the message. Oh, yeah, I did. No, you connect, Casey. And it's an art form that I think is lost in our world. And I think right now, through this quarantine where everyone's locked down in their domiciles, is a really good time to be learning how to do this well. And I think you are a master at it. So can we go into that?
Yeah, absolutely, Michelle. So several years ago, I started to write down kind of some core values or some core principles that I was going to run my life and ultimately my portfolio of businesses by. And I learned when I was a kid, and when I say kid, 5, 6 years old, working in my granddad's antique store in Fowler, Colorado. Fowler, Colorado. Oh yeah. My grandparents had places in Fowler and Avondale, which is even smaller than Fowler.
You're just a small town boy.
I'm a small town boy living in Los Angeles. Yes. But my grandfather taught me a very valuable life lesson when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And that is this, that always give way more value than expected, and everything else will work itself out. So I've grown up with that philosophy that I'm always trying to give more value than somebody expects. Like, you didn't expect those mugs. You didn't expect those cards from me. That is a way of adding value or trying to add value to our relationship quite frankly, before I ever need anything. I really look at it as we as human beings have a social bank account together with each person. This is visually how I think about it. And what happens if I, Michelle, come to you and I say, buy my stuff, look at this. I want you to look at this. I want you to go to here. I want you to subscribe to my thing here. Before I've given you any value or before there's any deposits made in that checking account, we're going overdraft. I'm going to get billed an overdraft fee. You're going to run away and we're not going to have a good time, right? But if we as human beings add value to each other and acknowledge and inspire each other, well, then if I say, hey, Michelle, I have something really cool that I'd love to have you take a look at, you know, and if you keep your options open, I'd love to have you just put your eyes on this thing and see what you think. Well, if I've added enough value and we've got some deposits in that bank account, then I'm asking you to withdraw some, and you will. The second thing, and this is probably a better moniker for most people, and if people that are listening to this or watching this and you want to take anything away from today's conversation, I would say this. Really, really at your core, understand that connectivity is today's new currency. And really that's what drives every business I run, every business I've ever owned, every business, every customer. I don't ever waste for 1 second the acknowledgement that somebody on the other side, whether it is a customer, a business partner, another person, that my connectivity to them, or in a business setting, our business company's connectivity with that customer is the currency. I'm asking somebody to go to work all day, come home, and at the end of the day, take out their credit card and buy something from me. Well, my goal is that when somebody buys something from me, no matter how much it is, whether it's 50 cents or $20 million, it doesn't matter. But the goal is that they send me a thank you card afterwards. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but from a mental perspective, I am always keenly aware that our customers, our prospects, the people that I'm connected to in the world, the currency is created in the connectivity piece. And let me take this one step deeper. Just because we both speak on stages and we speak around the world together, here's the thing. I have coached and trained a lot of speakers in my day, right? And my goal is always the same. And when I really, as a speaker, understood, number one, understood the actual business of being a speaker and not just, oh, I have a message, I need to get on stage and just tell everybody my message. It's a business and a business model. When I understood and the business model of speaking fit together like puzzle pieces, the world opened up. And I have to be honest with you. And I work more as a speaker than 90% of the people I know. I don't have a website. I don't have a one sheet. I don't have a sizzle reel. I don't have a business card. I don't have an agent. I don't have any of that stuff. What I have is understanding the business. And here's how it goes. When most speakers get started in the world as speakers, right? It's all about them. You see this on stage all day long, and I joke around that it's the picture of your family. Like somebody comes and gets in their car, drives to a hotel, used to, pays money, parks, spends a day, goes and sits in a chair in a cold hotel room with a notepad ready to learn. The last thing they really care about is a picture of me and my dogs. But from a speaker perspective, an amateur speaker will go, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm super awesome, look at my family, I'm awesome, it's all about me, I'm awesome, you should buy my stuff because I'm awesome, and look at me, I'm on stage, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome. No connectivity. It's commission breath is really what it is. It's this vomitous commission breath.
I call it the chicken circuit.
Exactly.
From place to place, eating chicken.
Exactly. And then what happens is pretty soon they get run out of town, just like you said, and it goes to product. My product is awesome. My product is awesome. I'm so awesome. You should buy my stuff because my product's awesome and I'm awesome. And look at, I put a picture of my dogs up there. So you know that we've got something in common. So you should buy my big product because I'm awesome. Right?
Today only.
Yeah, today only. And so that then wears thin, and promoters are going to go, this is gross. And that's what shows up on evaluation forms. Well, here's the thing, Michelle. When a speaker hits that limit, and it happens for most speakers, it happens in a nanosecond, sometimes on stage, sometimes it's off stage, sometimes it's getting fired, sometimes it's a bad evaluation, whatever it is. When a speaker truly understands that their job is to deliver an emotional response or inspire the audience to feel how the promoter wants them to feel, that's when the speaker opens up and works forever. Because those promoters have taken on the risk. They've paid for the hotel room, they pay for advertising, they take on all the liability. We get to stand up there and jump around like, a singing monkey for a bit, right? But when you truly, at your core, understand that your ability to connect with your customer, understand that you connect with your team, your employer, your team that you work with, or as a speaker with the audience, and you really, at its core, are okay giving up the sales, okay giving up the I'm awesome slide, but really inspiring that audience to take a particular action or feel a certain way that's in alignment with the producer of the show, that's when you truly deliver the goods.
And then you never have to advertise for yourself, ever.
Never. I don't advertise. People will call like, oh, Case, I'm going to do a one sheet. I'm like, okay, why? What is the one sheet going to do for you? Well, it's going to tell people what my topics are. Well, if you have to tell somebody what your topics are, in my opinion, you're kind of doing it wrong.
Well, it's like when people do, I'm the leader. I just want you to know I'm the leader.
Yeah.
If you need to tell me you're the leader, you're not the leader, somebody else is. So
yeah.
I feel the same way about speaking. Either you are or you are not. But you must speak because people need to hear you. But you have to remember, it's not about you. It's about them. What are you bringing?
And I think that's the real key. I internally struggle with this a little bit when speakers will come to me and say, I just need to get my message out. I got to get on stage. It's just my inner passion. I'm like, my suggestion is that you go do some Facebook Lives or you go give your speech in a closet or in a bathroom somewhere, because with that as being the driving force,
wrong mentality, yeah,
you'll get eaten alive and you'll work one or two times. But here's the thing, gang, and that's this: all the promoters talk. They all talk, and you will get a reputation very, very, very quickly. And at the end of the day, those promoters and those audiences are not interested in your message. They're not interested in what you feel your passion is.
How do you tie it to what?
Yeah, your ability to connect that in the mind of the audience member for themselves and help them have a transformative moment will allow you to have your own transformational moment. It's so critical. And if, I coach a lot of people, and even when I'm on tour, the speakers will come off stage and they'll just be like, give me some pointers. I'm like, you made this. I understand that you've got a passion talking about your childhood, or you've got a passion talking about some story that happened to you in the past, or some business or some product that you've come up with, and it's awesome and all of that. But at the end of the day, you were making me watch a movie about you. And what I really wanted is for you to turn the camera and make the movie about me.
That was one of the first feedbacks you gave me on my Facebook Lives. You wrote me and said, there was a lot of I going on here. And I said, no, it wasn't. I wasn't. And then I looked back and went, oh dear.
And it's okay. It's okay.
That's why it's important to have someone looking at you from the outside that you can trust. Someone that is willing to say, oh, you aren't. I mean, we people do Toastmasters and things like that, and everyone does. You're so great. I just love you. You're awesome. No, you need someone to say,
yeah,
you need to fix that.
Well,
that's why
let's talk about this for a second. I don't usually get to talk about this, but now you've opened up a can of worms and a sore spot a little bit for me. So no, I think it's great. Here's the thing. I think it's important for business owners and people like non-business owners. Well, I just happen to speak a lot with business owners.
Yeah.
If you look at Boeing, Microsoft, Starbucks, Bank of America, big corporations, they have got boards of directors around them advising the CEO and advising the leaders to help kind of keep that decision-making on track. I kind of think of it like a bowling alley. Like, you know, your job with a board of advisors is the gutter guards to keep the ball in the lane. So hopefully when it gets to the end, it knocks over as many pins as possible. Well, most people are so scared that they won't have gutter guards up because their ego or whatever is like, well, I got this. So what the challenge is as a business owner to be able to be the dumbest one in the room a little bit and have a board of advisors that can help keep you on track. And sometimes what happens when I see this a lot with Toastmasters, honestly, and that's what really triggered this for me is sometimes when I have gone and I've had the super good fortune of speaking at a lot of Toastmasters events around the country. And I was a member of Toastmasters for years. I love the organization. As a speaker, I think it's mandatory or should be. But one of the challenges that I do have in a situation like that is getting critiqued from somebody that may or may not be at the same level that the speaker is at is sometimes a challenge. And I have had several instances where I've sat and I've listened to critiques at Toastmasters. I'm just like, this critique is coming from somebody that's never been on a stage professionally giving critiques and input to somebody because there's some written format versus what the organization is to do is to help people become better leaders.
Yeah.
You know, I feel so strongly that even if you have a passion in your gut that you need to get your message out, first off, there are a bunch of different ways to get your message out. You know, it's one thing to stand on stage and be given the opportunity to work with an audience, but, you know, Facebook Lives, podcast, running your own meetup group, running your own blog. It doesn't have to just be where you believe the glitz and the glamour is. And I saw this in the movie business. I mean, I just cracked up. You know, people think the movie business is glitz and glamour, but that's just the end hour and a half product. You know, there's $100 million and 200 days and nightmarish egos that are all wrapped up and involved in the making of that. And in the same way that I would say this about speaking a lot of times is people have this envision that it's like the most glamorous, glorious thing. I'm like,
no.
Yeah, you need to go come hang with me for a little bit. I mean, you know, and people will say sometimes like, oh, dude, I want to do what you do. I want to do what Michelle does. And I'm like, okay, great. My first question is, are you willing to do what Michelle did to get there? Are you willing to do what I did to get there? Are you willing to, on your own dime, go speak in a birthday room in a bowling alley in some rural city? If you're not, then you have no business being a speaker because that's what it takes.
Yeah, there's some hard payments you got to run through.
Oh, we could probably share story after story after story after that.
I do my boot camp, you know, my speaker boot camp, and I always encourage people, you know, if you've got this amazing story, you know, you do want to write it. You want to write it down, and they go, oh yeah, I want to write a book because I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like, stop. You're not even ready with your story. Okay, you're talking about this. What about everyone else? Yeah, you know, like you were saying, it's I got a dog.
Yeah.
So we have everything in common now. It's like, no, you need to expand on that. Well, how do I do that? Get talking. Just keep talking until you refine it. Find out what that message is reaching. What is it talking to other people? Who is hearing that and what are they hearing? I mean, you need to refine. You can't just jump up on stage. People come and do, hi, Michelle. I see you're an international speaker. Yes, I am. They do. Get me on TEDx or get me on TED. I'm like, it doesn't happen overnight like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Well, I think, you know, I know we're talking a little bit about speakers here, but here is just the reality. The reality, unless you are a speaker that is being paid to stand up and share some extraordinary story about yourself, there is a business that underlies the business of being a speaker. We have to stand on stage and sell stuff.
Yes.
And even if it's selling the audience to subscribe to something or
Come to the
clap
next
at the end,
conference.
the next conference, whatever it is, So there is a skill in being able to move an audience to take an action that they wouldn't otherwise take. And sometimes it is so frustrating working with speakers that just want to stand up and tell their story and hope that because they have a good story that people are going to buy their stuff.
Big net. Well, and that's why I want to go back to just everyday people and normal business owners, not even speakers anymore, okay?
Yeah.
Because the thing is we are all selling something. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, do you have a dog? Do you have a cat? Do you have a child? Do you have a best friend? You sold them on liking you. You sold them on going on your first date. You sold the dog on going outside and not peeing in your house. You are always connecting and weighing what another person, creature, whatever needs. It's the same thing in talking. So I'm branching this into something, trust me.
Yep, no.
When you're talking about your business, when anyone's out there and they're like, well, I'm not a speaker, but I do insurance. Okay, how are you doing that? Well, I do insurance. Well, you need to be able to tell a story that will connect with the person you are trying to get to buy the insurance. So therefore, 1, you're a storyteller. 2, you are a speaker. And 3, you need to know how to connect with them. You need to be able to, like you were saying, have such a bond with them that you never sell them on anything at the beginning. You just keep talking to them until they know, like, and trust you. And then you say, would you like to hear more? But that's not what happens at, BNIs and groups like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, here's my card. See ya. Why don't you buy my $50,000 package? Because, you're like, whoa, I don't want 5 kids and, a minivan. Can we at least have the fun part first? I mean,
yeah.
And that's why I wanted you on the show, because it's what you do.
Well, and really, there's a visual that I think would be helpful for folks, and that's this. When you meet someone, so you do insurance, right? Or maybe you're even just selling through a Facebook ad. It doesn't really matter.
Whatever it is.
We're selling something. The world works on sales, right? And sales is nothing more than influence on some level, right? But it's like, look, when you have a customer or a potential prospect or somebody in front of you, or even a date. I mean, even if you think someone's hot at the bar, or they're hot at the restaurant or at the bowling alley or whatever,
Maybe simple.
Yeah. But it all still comes down to the connectivity as the currency piece. And that's this. Imagine, if you will, the person on the other side of the wallet, or the person on the other side of the exchange. Between the two of you, there's a giant block of ice between you. And nothing transacts until there's no more ice in front of you, until it goes from being a cold relationship to a warm relationship. Now, 2 people can both be warming that ice from both sides of the equation. But if one person isn't willing to budge, then it's up to the other person to continue to melt that ice. But if the ice is never melted between you and a prospect, or you and a potential date, or you and a potential spouse, or you and your boss, or you and your sales team, or you and whatever, it's very difficult to communicate through a big block of ice.
I love that, Casey. Melt the ice, people. Melt the ice.
Melt the ice. Hashtag melt the ice.
I like that. I'm going to write that on our moniker for this, because Casey, I hate to say this, but we're out of time. And I can keep talking to you.
Michelle, what's awesome is when you get in conversations with people like you, who have had the transformational experiences that you've had, and being able to communicate, it's just fun. And you and I could talk forever in 10 days. And, I just want to say to you guys that are listening, whether you're listening or watching, go hang out with Michelle. She's absolutely rad. She's super fun. She's absolutely awesome. And what you will get is really a dose of authenticity, genuineness, and she'll kind of kick your butt a little bit if you need it. And she's not afraid of that. And that's what's so special. And so, Michelle, it's been an absolute privilege and an honor to spend time with not only you, but the folks that you attract. And it's been a true honor. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your circle, because he's the same way. It's very rare for me to find someone say, Michelle, you need to fix that. And I think that's where my relationship with Casey shifted, because he was someone who I knew would tell me the truth, no matter how much it hurt me, because he knew it would help me grow. And I thank you for that. So everyone, please look up Casey. His website that I want you to seek out is www.expandthebusiness.com. He has this really great complimentary thing for like 20 wild ways to improve your follow-up.
Yeah, we just know that the fortune's in the follow-up. We hear that all day long. And it just pains me when people leave that kind of money on the floor. So we just created a quick guide, 20 ways to help you improve your follow-up. You just go to expandthebusiness.com and tell me where to send it. We'll hand it over.
And it's awesome. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining and listening and watching, whatever you're doing. And please, if this was of any value for you at all, or you know someone in your circle that could use this information, please share the link, subscribe to the YouTube page, subscribe to the Anchor page, that'd be even better. And so be the best version of you. Reach out to Casey, because I'm telling you, he will shift your world. Have a fabulous week, everyone. And until next time, be the best version of you.